Hi guys, it's 7 o'clock in the evening on the 6th of May. It's very busy here. I haven't got to wear a mask tonight because I'm all protected by sitting in the desk at my desk all alone. So it's been a busy couple of weeks for us since we were last on. Do let us know whether you want us to be on more often than we used to be. We were once a month, now we're once every 2 weeks. Quite happy to do it. Quite happy to talk about anything at all that you want to talk about. It could be about some personal things, the fact how you're coping with the isolation and the safeguarding and everything else. So do feel free to ask anything. What we're going to try to do on the next one is, if anybody wants to actually speak to me live during the forecast, what we've said to do is to send us an email with who you are and obviously your telephone number and the question, and if we can get to you live, you can actually speak to me live. Heaven help you, but there we are, I am here. Speak to me live and we'll do a few of those. We'll see if it works. It'll be quite fun to do it. It's lovely to actually communicate with a person directly so I can hear their voice. I wish I could see you all, that would be amazing. But so, what's been going on? Well, COVID-19 seems to be affecting us all. Sadly, I don't think we've really got to the bottom of it at all. I think there's a lot more to go. So do be careful, do isolate when you can, don't mix too much, don't get too close to people. I think there's likely to be a second wave, and I think there's a scientist talk yesterday actually saying that there's a new mutation of the virus, which means that people can get it more than once. So please be on your guard, protect yourself, protect your friends as much as you can. It's really important. So many people, I'm trying to look at questions and look at the screen, so I'm getting very confused. I'm getting very old to do this. In fact, this morning I had to jump over a 6-foot fence, I think 4 times. Each of the times Laurie had to help me. We went out, sadly there was a deer had got stuck between some rails of a gate. It had a totally smashed back leg, so it was a PTS, but in order to get to it I had to climb over a fence but under some barbed wire which was above the fence or above the gate, and poor Laurie had to help me every time because my brain does it. My brain's very happy. It says, you've done that 1,000,000 times, Simon, and that's great, but my body just goes, you have got to be joking. You're very old man. You can't do this anymore. But with a bit of a push from Laurie, I can still do it, guys. So thanks so much for being with us tonight. Lots to talk about. Keep your questions coming. Laurie will have more of an eye on this than I will, but I can see there's lots of, I can see there's all sorts of things coming in. I'm just trying to read through quickly.
Coming in at the moment.
Hellos. Laurie's telling me people are saying hello. So hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello Lucy Kells. Is she there? I think Lucy Kells is there.
Lucy is there, yeah.
Hello Susan Blissett. I think she's there in Canada with George. So welcome to you. When are you coming to see us? But you can't fly at the moment, so that's a bit tricky. It's a changing world, guys. It's a very changing world. It's funny because I mentioned on the last podcast, and I also mentioned in a few tweets since then, the 2 words paradigm shift. I want you all, when we finish tonight, I want you to all to look up and Google paradigm shift, because I'm really praying with every ounce of my being that we take this as our call to create a paradigm shift. That really is a change of attitudes, a change of how we do things, and I think this is so now important. I think it's been desperately important for years, but now perhaps this terrible pandemic which has hit us and probably hasn't left us yet, might hopefully make people sit up and take notice that we have to protect our planet, we have to protect our wildlife, we have to protect our habitat. Please everybody, let this be a paradigm shift that the human race really needs to take notice of. So Laurie, what have you got for me this evening? Anything exciting? Laurie's isolating in his caravan. He's about 20 feet that way from me, and I'm
just
all by myself.
At the corner of your picture, actually.
Can I see you? I can't see you.
The left of your picture is where I am at the moment.
I've got no picture, Laurie.
No, you can't see yourself. We don't let you do that.
No, I'm not allowed to see myself, but Laurie's top left. So hello Laurie, top left. Lou's at home. She's on the line as well. Alice, dear old Alice, doing everything. Alice is our central pivot at WildlifeAid. Without Alice, the whole thing would fall apart. But Alice then makes 370 volunteers work for us, do things for us, and they have been staggering. We've been obviously pushed over the last few weeks. We're going into orphan season. It's now beginning to get very busy, and Alice is trying to get the people in, but we have to, sadly, the people over 70 or people with any underlying condition we've had to stop them coming in. I've just had a hello from Pakistan. Hello Pakistan, one of the countries I've never been to. Welcome. So yeah, Alice is our pivotal linchpin, and if Alice pulls the pin out of our lynch, we will be pinned. So Alice, thank you for everything you do. And some of the volunteers, I'm actually not going to name them. Alice gave me a list yesterday of all the volunteers who have really gone above and beyond for us over the last couple of months now. I'm not going to mention you for two reasons. One is I'm bound to forget someone, or other people will mention that I forgot them, and it'll all be a disaster. So you know who you are, you know the effort you've put in, and without you we would have been in a much worse state. So thank you so much to everybody. All the volunteers have been stepping up to the mark and going beyond the mark on so many occasions. So we're so grateful, and I feel as if I've been talking non-stop. Kate Woods, I should mention Kate Woods. Kate Woods has been an ambassador for Wildlife Aid. About 11 years ago now, I launched an idea where we get people to try to raise £10,000 a year for us. My idea was to go to 10 big corporates, CEOs of companies, and get them to raise £10,000 a year, thinking that they'd tell their PA, the PA would ring their best clients, the 10 best clients would give them £1,000, and lo and behold, we get 10,000 quid from each of our ambassadors. The only one who picked this up was a young lady called Kate Woods, and I spent weeks trying to stop her from doing it because it was too much effort, because she hadn't got that input. She had to raise every single pound by herself. We're now in our 11th year. She's raised us so far £100,000. That is no mean feat, and she's going this year. As she's already raised £10,000 this year, I've said she should really try to go for £100,000 this year, but perhaps I might be pushing my luck very slightly. Kate, thank you so much for doing everything. Laurie, I'm going to take a breath down, have a sip of my Coca-Cola, which might just have a little tad of Bacardi in it, and let you speak.
No. We've had a few questions that have come in already. So the number one is Megan has asked, how many fox cubs do we have now?
I only knew the answer to that 5 minutes ago, actually. I'm just going to break off there because I've just had a hello from Reykjavik in Iceland. When I was in my other life, when I was a sugar broker, I used to go to Iceland quite frequently. Love Iceland, love the people, they're brilliant. So Iceland, I miss you. Get me back to do a talk sometime. I used to deal with a chap called Hilmar Sigurdsson and his family, and he used to buy sugar from us because I was a commodity broker, a sugar broker. And I miss it. It was a lovely, lovely place. I remember going there in the winter, and you'd be in a summer suit, walking on 6 foot of snowdrifts, but it never felt that cold. Beautiful country, Iceland, welcome. Get me back there to give a talk. I'd love to come back to Iceland. Back to your question, Laurie. Fox cubs, Maru assures me, who I can see on my other screen, because I can see all the screens that are going around the centre where she is, and that we've got about 26 to 30 fox cubs in at the moment, all doing very well, and we're getting busier. We're beginning to wind up now properly into orphan season. We've had 24 admissions today, so that's quite busy. Maru will be working through to about 10 o'clock tonight, and you know, we're always on call. We are there for you or for our wildlife 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I tend to get woken up by Laurie because I fall asleep a lot nowadays. I tend to eat my dinner and fall asleep, but there we are, that's old age for you. But yeah, thank you everybody for everything you do. 26 fox cubs. What have we got else? We've got 3 baby tawny owl chicks, we've got 5 badger cubs, and we've had a week of corvids. In fact, the last 2 weeks we've had 10 corvids in the form of magpies. It's funny here, you get weeks of certain animals. You might get a week of starlings, or a week of magpies, or a week of this, or a week of that. It's really odd how it works. But please guys, if you're gardening, if you've got anybody cutting your hedges at the moment, which you really shouldn't have, we shouldn't be cutting trees or hedges at the moment in the UK, because everything is nesting. I've got lots of nests in my garden that I've seen, and we need to protect the birds, you know. So if you're gonna cut a hedge or cut a tree, please check not once but 3 times before you do it, because we really should leave our birds to nest as they are. I actually heard my first cuckoo this week. I was very excited. 5 o'clock in the morning I heard my first cuckoo, and I was very excited. Reminds me, Lucy will remember, of Indamilly, who came into us. She'd been tagged by whichever organisation it was, the BTO, whatever, and the weight of the little radio transmitter on her had nearly finished her off. She was probably, I think at that stage, she was the only female that had been tagged. and she came into us really on her last legs, or her last wings, whatever you want to say, and in a terrible state. Lucy nursed her back to health and actually got a first-class flight free of charge from British Airways to take Indimili back out to Italy, because she'd missed the migration when they all go back out and go back out to the Congo or wherever they go, right down deep. And they have to fly across the Sahara. Can you imagine having to fly across the Sahara Desert in one go? That's pretty stunning, guys. So let's not forget our wildlife. We've got 2 blue tit nests at the moment, both on cameras. And when they get their young, which will probably be within the next couple of weeks, they'll be making 1,000 trips a day to feed their young. So these poor adults are going back and forth 1,000 times a day to feed their babies. Fascinating season if you just sit back and think about it. And we all have time now to sit back and watch. Just maybe spend 10 minutes sitting in your garden just watching the birds, seeing if something's getting a beak full of food but not eating it, and taking it off somewhere because they're going back to feed their babies. Take time to notice nature. It is brilliant. It is incredibly clever. It's also quite harsh. I mean, you know, it's the survival of the fittest out there. But mankind should be a bit better than that, and they should help our wildlife survive. I'm going to shut up again now, Laurie. Give me something else to talk about.
It's worth saying as well, actually, the 26 foxscopes are the foxscopes we have in at the moment. In terms of admissions, we've actually moved a couple of foxscopes onto other centres to help with their particular programmes. We've had over 40 this year. Yes.
That's a lot, Laurie, isn't it?
It is an awful lot.
Do you realise, Laurie, that's more than you get paid a year? You only get paid £40 a year.
40 pence, I believe.
Oh, 40 pence. Oh, I'm overpaying. Hang on, let me just make a note of that, guys. I'm obviously overpaying Laurie. Cut his salary back from £40 a year to 40 pence. That'd be good.
That would do.
What other questions we got?
Speaking of money, we've actually had a couple of donations in. So Paul Laurie, I like your last name, has donated £5 and has asked members from TV series, like the older lady who was a vet and the bearded gentleman who was one of your rescuers.
The bearded gentleman is Malcolm Thompson, amazing rescuer. He had a big handlebar moustache. He should have been riding a Harley Davidson, but he never did. Brilliant rescue. Sadly, he's got terminal cancer. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to say that or not. And I sent him an email the other day because he finds it a bit difficult to talk. But Malcolm, you've always been a star. Keep your pecker up, man. And I'm sure we'll be in touch again. But his son Lee, who's a brilliant chef, has been keeping me posted of what's going on. So Malcolm, I'm so sorry, but you know, you've been a great rescuer, and when you come back next time, make sure you're an even better rescuer. In fact, you can sit in my seat and then I can rest. The other thing I've got to say, Laurie, actually, is, which we all know, and I haven't put anything out on social media yet, is Dot Beeson, who is an amazing lady. She's probably one of the only people in this world I'm terrified of, or was terrified of. She sadly died earlier this week, that last week, of COPD and cancer. But what a dedicated lady she was. She looks after swans. She's got her BEM. She's got an MBE. Absolutely dedicated. Scared the life out of me because she's rather like me, actually. So I obviously scare myself as well. But Dot, you know, good on you. You're sitting in the clouds now with Les Stocker, who sadly died a while ago as well. 2 very old golden oldies from the world of rehabilitation. It actually scares me more that all these people are dying, because it probably means that I'm next, and that terrifies me. But you know, they say only the good die young. So Laurie, you've got me for a long time yet.
We've also had a very kind donation to 20 Ira, who is one of our volunteers. Thank you very much. But make sure you all stay safe. I want to see you when I can come back. We hope that's not going to be too long, Myra.
Myra is another golden oldie, and when I say oldie, boy do I mean it. No, Myra, she's brilliant. Anything we want made or stitched or sewn, she's in there, on it and all over it. Had a message from Lucy saying that, I think somewhere back up there, I've missed it somewhere, but Indimili was really, really cute. She was a lovely cuckoo. She was a beautiful bird. So let's hope it was one of her progeny that came back to visit us this week and do its cuckoos at 5 o'clock in the morning. Perhaps it's one of her children or even grandchildren now. I think their lifespan in the wild is about 6 years-ish. So it was probably 10 years ago now, so it's probably her great grandson who came back to say hello to Wildlife Aid. Laurie, give us another one.
I've just been told that my speaker on your end is a little bit dodgy, so I do apologise if you can't hear me. Hopefully you can. Please let us know in the chat if there are any issues. We'll do our best to work that out. Brandon has asked, what's the rarest animal we see at the centre?
Laurie, definitely Laurie Brayley. Certainly the rarest. You never see him. He says he works hard.
I'm just in here.
Well, you're not here. You're in your caravan, relaxing. I bet you've got a large drink in your hand. Yeah, the speakerphone's not very good. I don't know whether to ring you back, Laurie, actually, and try again, because are the people picking you up from your speakers over there or only from my phone?
No, only from your side. There'd be too much lag to do the speakers here.
Okay, shall I just lose Laurie for 30 seconds and redial him, see if it's any better, or is it your mobile? Because I'm on a landline.
We can try.
Let me try. I'm going to lose Laurie, which means I'm all on my own. So excuse me while I concentrate for a second. I put Laurie down. I've got to press that. Oh God, that didn't work. Heavens above, I've done it wrong. Now hopefully we're ringing Laurie again right now, guys. So hopefully it'll be a slightly better line. Is it going to happen, or am I all on my own? Oh no, it's ringing. That's a start, isn't it?
Hello.
Oh, that's better. That's Laurie, slightly better than he was before. Laurie is back. I've just seen a huge donation, Laurie, in euros.
Yes, there are two large donations. So Nigel Grant, who has raised an awful lot of money for us, donated £68. I wonder where that figure came from. And FXP1688, also known as Sven, donated €168.
Guys,
huge.
You're both brilliant. I don't like 68. Perhaps I should tell you at my next birthday, I'm 6.5 million years old. Perhaps that would be the way to get the money in quickly. So Nigel, if you can raise that much, you can have the new centre named after you. Still going well on the new centre. A little bit of update on that. We are starting on the 1st of June to dig the wetlands. So this will be a massive 12-week job of digging all the marshland, the actual lakes at the bottom, and then building up our building platform which is above it. Anybody got to ask any questions about 20 acres, either on email or now, whenever, please ask me the questions, because it's a massive project. It's my legacy project, if you like, to Wildlife Aid. It's my IDOT, because it's something I feel the responsibility that I have to do. I've taken Wildlife Aid where it is after 40 years. And when I'm not here anymore, I want it to continue, and I've sort of tried to leave it in as good a state as I can. But not only that, I want to get the new centre open and working, so we can not only do what we do, which will always be the soul of Wildlife Aid, but to educate and inspire children to take on. Poor old Dot, let's hope there's some youngsters come in to replace her. Les Stocker, I hope there's some youngsters come in and replace him when the time comes. We need the younger generation to pick it up. I was talking to the guy who does most of our badger releases the other day, and he's part of the East Surrey Badger Group. His name is Warwick Reynolds, and believe it or not, he's even older than I am. He was saying this, he thinks very sad because the youngsters aren't coming in to take over from him. He's getting a bit doddery like me, and it'd be nice if the youngsters came in and found the time. It's all time, isn't it? Everybody hasn't got any time. We're too busy. Perhaps this pandemic has made us learn that we do have time, and we can relax, and actually watching nature for just 5-10 minutes a day takes all the pressure out, takes the stress down, and you won't be so fraught. So guys, paradigm shift. If anybody doesn't ask me a question about paradigm shift next time, I'm going to stick my head in a bucket of water. That was probably a silly thing to say, because Laurie will make me do it. But there we are. So Laurie, ask me another question before I put myself even deeper in the poo-poo.
How deep do you want your bucket of water to be?
Don't start on that, Brayley, or you won't be working here.
No, you can't find me for a year. I fix your chipper thing.
He fixed something today, and very, very, very thing. I knew he couldn't fix it because I couldn't fix it, and he worked it out, and he did fix it. And I said, if you fix that, I won't fire you for a year. So he's safe for a year. So, Laurie, thank you.
Adam Buckton has asked, when this is all over, will we do another series of Wildlife SOS?
Well, we could. We would. TV companies now are really lacking in funds. They don't have the money for these sort of ob-doc series that we put on. We could do a series of Wildlife SOS on YouTube. I'd love to do it. But to actually film it with that sort of tenacity and really following it that closely is more than we do now. And it would cost, I mean, when we were doing the series, it was about, we got paid about £1,000 a minute, which sounds huge, but actually we worked every hour of it. I mean, we worked for 18 months on the series. We were literally working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So that's an awful lot of work, an awful lot of editing. And poor old Laurie would probably lose all his hair by then. But if we could raise enough money, we could actually film a proper little series, be it a 20-minute an episode or whatever you wanted, a short one just to see how it goes. Perhaps, Laurie, this summer we might try to put out just one episode to see if people like it or not. And if you do, and if you can get all your friends involved, and if you can get them to help us, not only raise the money for the new centre, which is so desperately needed, but also to put on a new series. You never know, it could happen. If anybody wins the lottery, please don't forget to ring me first.
Yeah, to be honest, the Wildlife SOS online, one of the real reasons that we struggle with that is they just don't get the viewing figures that we need to justify the amount of effort and work that goes into them. Each one of them takes 3 to 4 sort of quite major stories in there, and they won't get anywhere near the viewing figures that putting those stories out individually will. And unfortunately, as I'm sure you all know, this is a major fundraising platform for us as well as an education platform, and something that we do to show the world what we do and what can be done in these certain situations. We do have to think about how best to use the content, and unfortunately, at the moment, we're just not getting the viewing figures to go down the SOS episode route.
So you know what to do, guys. Tell all your friends, push it out there, go on to all your social media feeds, get them to watch YouTube, because that in itself raises a bit of money, and when we try to raise money for a specific project, that helps us as well. So you are in control of it, guys. We're just doing what you do. It's rather like Wildlife Aid. You know, everybody thinks it's me who does it all and I'm omnipotent, or is it impotent? I can never remember which. But it's because we've got all the volunteers. I mean, if I was just me doing this, we'd save nothing. It would be a nightmare. And it's 375 volunteers that make this place work. And as I say, the staff, our vet Maru, Alice, Naomi, all the team who work with us make it happen for us. So thank you so much. Let's get it bigger and better before I lose all my hair entirely.
Scottish astronomer, who is another regular on this channel, was asked, how deep does Laurie want the bucket of water to be? Put it this way, I would use a hose.
Okay, Scottish astronomer, for a start you can send the book back I sent you, because that's very unkind. So I want you to send the book back. You don't deserve it, because Laurie would make it about 5 meters deep, or even 500 meters deep, so I could never get back up to the surface. But there we are. I need more than that at 500 meters.
Teresa's asked, what animals are the most difficult to catch and help recover?
The ones that you can't catch. It could be a sparrow, it could be a badger, it could be a deer. The situation which we got, this is why I love rescues. I love it. It sounds terrible, but I love rescues, because you get an animal that you know is going to die if you don't get there to save it, and it's in a situation which you probably never come across before, and we have to think on our feet. We have to get that animal saved. So it depends. It could be a tiny little sparrow to a badger or a deer. It depends what's going on the rescue. It varies all the time, and we go, I mean, no two rescues have ever been identical. Some have been similar, and we've learnt from that, but no two rescues have ever been identical. So I love rescues dearly. I love being able to do something to get these animals back into the wild, and we'll keep going, even if Laurie has to push me over the gates 3 times in one rescue. Never mind.
Human Pheromones has just asked, has your rescue work taken a halt due to the coronavirus?
Our rescue work will never take a halt during whatever virus it is, and even if we're banned from going, I will be out there. I will be in full camouflage. I will put my car into stealth mode so I can go wherever I want, and I will make Laurie push it so the engine doesn't make too much noise. No, we're there, we're rescuing guys, we're working flat out full time, and you know, if you've got an animal in trouble, if you're in the UK, give us a ring, ask advice before you bring them in. Often with these animals we get lots of baby birds in. Sometimes they're actually fledging and they don't need to come in, so providing the animal's not in mortal danger, always try to ring us up first, because we can advise and often we can keep an animal where it is in the wild without bringing it in by giving you the right advice. So yeah, fledging birds, particularly the corvids, will spend 3 or 4 days on the ground before they fly. The parents will come down and feed them, and everybody will be worried because this crow can't fly and everybody's really panicking. They bring it into us. Please don't, guys. Give us a ring, ask our opinion first, and we will do our very best to do the right thing for the animal.
So what have we done recently, rescue-wise?
What have we done recently? That was a prompt from Laurie, wasn't it? That was a real little prompt from Laurie. So we've done well, we would have caught the swan yesterday. We would have caught the swan. We had a swan with a fishing hook in its mouth. So I said to Laurie, you run this rescue, off you go, we'll get this right. Sadly, didn't catch it. In all seriousness, we've got...
That's not true, is it?
We've got a little boat. Actually, there's another story in this as well, because we've got a lovely little boat that will go on most lakes and things. It's not till we got it off the top of the car that we noticed there were 2 dirty great holes in both floats either side. So we're really scared we were going to sink while we were on the rescue. So we just gaffer taped up the cracks in the sides, and it didn't sink. But the little we've got an electric motor, so it doesn't make any noise, which is far better. And it's actually quite whippy, but not whippy enough to catch a swan if he decides he doesn't want to be caught. So we are going back for round 3 of that tomorrow. We didn't get it the first time on the boat. We didn't get it this morning because they were too busy the other side of the lake. They wouldn't come over to us. But what we're trying to do is get them to come over to feed, and then when they're feeded, we can get them with a swan hook. We can get the hook out and hopefully release the swan straight away. So that's one rescue, ongoing rescue, that one. We had a really lovely rescue. I don't know if you call a rescue lovely, but we had a baby tawny owl was found on the ground under a tree, and the people brought it in. They were really very caring. They brought it in, they were worried about it. So we kept it overnight, we fed it, and we took it back the next morning because Laurie is our chief climber in all ways, more than one. And he was going to climb up the tree and put this tawny owl back, this owlet back. It wasn't fledged, it wasn't branching. And we got there, and lo and behold, there was the second one on the ground. So actually, that wasn't you, was it, Laurie? That was what's his name?
That was Dan who did that one.
Was it Dan? It was Dan?
Apology.
Yeah, so anyway, Laurie was on the bottom. He was on the ground doing the rope work from the bottom, but a very experienced arborist went up the tree. He had to rebuild the nest because the nest was very shallow. It was really like a platform rather than nest, so he rebuilt the sides. So it's a nice big diameter. It had nice big sides. He put both babies back in the nest. It took a bit of time, and then the people went out that night and for a few nights afterwards, checked on them, and they could see the parents coming in and feeding them. So that was a really lovely story, and thank heavens we went back the next day to get the other one which had fallen on the ground. So there's 2 rescues, Laurie. I'm sure
yes,
there's more.
It was filmed. The video is coming soon.
The video, watch this space, the video will be here soon.
Yeah. We've done a number of tawny owls actually. That is one of 3 or 4 certainly we've done in the past week or so.
You see, I don't do that. I don't like those rescues because I can't do it, because I look at a tree and if it's more than 5 feet off the ground, I have to send Laurie now. I'm getting old, Laurie. I can't even get over a 6-foot gate anymore. So, you know, in any tree works, Laurie's all down. We've got 3 or 4 climbers. We've got Dan, who works in Dorking. We've got Richard Simmons, the famous wildlife artist, who's brilliant. He comes and does rescues as well, but he keeps trying to sell me his pictures, and I just can't afford them. So, Richard, if you're listening, if you're watching, you know, an original print from you, an original from you, not a print, an original from you would be really nice to auction at our next function. That's landed you right in it now, because he was far nicer to some other centre rather than ours the other day, and I haven't forgiven him yet. He rang me up he didn't apologise, he just said, "You don't love me anymore, do you?" And I said, "No, I don't." Laurie, crack on quickly.
Sven has actually asked, how many times does it happen that you have to go to a rescue multiple times before we get it?
It's actually quite rare, to be honest. I could probably count on one hand the number of times a year we have to go out to a rescue more than once, and probably that's being slightly generous. It's probably even less than that. The swan's just very difficult, but we will get him. We won't give up. Laurie's worse to me. Laurie will not give up. He'll sit out there all night if necessary to get it. Well, I would go home and go to bed and have a Bacardi and Coke and go back the next day. Laurie just won't move. He will not leave the scene until we get our bird or our animal.
If we don't get it, I sulk.
He sulks, and Laurie sulking is quite a scary thing, guys. Let me just tell you, Laurie sulking is not a nice sight.
I get very annoyed.
He gets very sulky, very cross, and you don't talk to him too much.
Nathaniel has asked how much money is spent per month to run the centre.
It costs us about £1,800 a day to run the centre, and bearing in mind that we work 7 days a week, you can work that out all by yourselves, guys. That's obviously all the running cost and the refurb. I mean, we don't do a lot of refurb. We're spending, at the moment, we're spending about £10,000 refurbing our Fox pens. We spent a slightly less amount a couple of months ago refurbing some other pens. So we probably get £20,000 or £30,000 we have to spend a year on getting things back to normal, because when things are built out of wood, they only last about 10 years, and obviously they do go down every now and then. So running costs and the refurbishment costs work out, at about £1,800 a year, which is an awful lot of money, and nobody knows. I think a lot of charities are really worried now because of this situation that people won't have so much money to give to charities. I must admit, I shouldn't say this because we're live on air and Laurie will probably hit me, but he can't actually hit me because he's not close enough. But all these charities say, oh, we've only got 1 week's running costs in the bank. That's quite scary, because nobody should run a charity with less than at least 6 months in the bank, if not a year. Because, for instances like this, I'm a mean person. All our volunteers and staff will tell you how mean I am. But when COVID hit us, we knew, without even having to think about it, that we could run for a year without having to worry. We'll be careful, obviously, but we have enough money to run for a year, and I think it's so important for any charity to be financially secure, so they can do exactly that. If something goes really wrong, you've got to keep going and wind down slowly if you need to. So, guys, you're not getting rid of me that easily. I'm still there. Laurie, speak again. Your turn.
We have a number of donations that have come in, speaking on the money front. So thank you very much. As I'm sure you're well aware, things are getting a lot more difficult with donations at this time of year with everything that's going on. We do rely entirely on public donations, and unfortunately we don't get any government funding or anything like that. No bailouts, no anything. So it's a huge help for all of you guys who are donating. So thank you. Lamia Lucy's donated €5 and has got high again some money for the boxes. Thank you very much. We've an awful lot of those to deal with at the moment. Alison Armstrong has donated £10 and has put, sorry, can't give more at the moment. That's absolutely fine. Thank you very much. That's loads, and that will help keep several animals in food for a little while. So thank you.
Every single pound helps, Laurie. Every single pound. But if you did win the lottery and won millions and millions, every single million would help too.
Human Pheromones has donated $5 and has put a little emoji of a high five. So socially distanced high five to you. And the Warren has donated €68 and has put hello again from the Netherlands. Our swan is still on its nest, so we could have cygnets any day now.
I don't like the 68, Laurie. I don't like the 68. Can I just tell everybody now, for the record, that I am 6.5 million years old. So if you want to follow that progress, Mr. Grant and Sven, off you go, big boys. Lucy just said she got a 15p bonus last year. I don't remember that. I think she should pay it back. I think if Lucy got 15p bonus from me, I think she needs to pay it back. We're desperate for money, Lucy. Desperate. One thing we put out, have we put that rescue out that Lucy did with Laurie and put the blue tits back in the nest?
You mean Sean? But
Sean. Yeah, well, she absolutely. Well, Laurie wouldn't let me do it, but poor Sean. I thought Sean was so nimble. He's a brilliant rescuer. He's the one person, if ever in the world I had to rescue with one person, it would be Sean. But he went up this tree and I suddenly definitely detected signs of aging. And Lucy, unkind that she is, actually sent me pictures of Sean's thighs after the rescue, where he slid down the tree with obviously his legs either side of a big branch. It did look very painful, but Laurie said if you put that on YouTube, we'd probably be X'd off and they wouldn't show it because it's too graphic. So Sean, I hope your legs are feeling better, you poor old man. Let's try vault. We should have a 6-foot gate vaulting competition between Sean and I, see who does it better. But I want you on my side, Laurie. I want you on my side.
King Kong has asked, has the Queen ever commended you for your work?
I've had many queens commend me for my work, but not that one. No, I have. I did get, back a long time ago now, I got an MBE. I can't tell you live what we call it here, but we don't call it what it should be. But I got an MBE for my services to wildlife. In fact, that was quite funny because the local paper ran it as a front page top headline story, and it was I think the thing was Simon Cowell gets award for servicing wildlife. And I rang them up and said, that really doesn't sound very good, guys, for servicing wildlife. So they printed a retraction. They said, we're really sorry, we shouldn't have said that. We'll put it for services to wildlife, which is why I got the MBE. And they put it on page 37 at the bottom, on the bottom line. So nobody ever saw that they changed it. So servicing wildlife is one thing, but services to wildlife suits me better.
A couple of questions have come in. Scottish astronomer is asked, if it came to it, do you have anyone who could use a tranquilizer rifle to help you catch an animal?
I am licensed for a tranquilizer rifle. I'm licensed to shoot, which I don't like doing, but I'm licensed to shoot real bullets, which is quite scary. And I'm also licensed to tranquilize. I got that license a long time ago. It's very difficult to get, to be honest. I very seldom use a tranquilizer rifle for all sorts of reasons, but we have it. I have the drugs for it, and I can use it if necessary. But I've got Laurie. I don't need a tranquilizer rifle. I just get Laurie to breathe on them. That knocks everything out very quickly. Works for me, doesn't it, Laurie?
It's going to be full of "stop bullying me" comments now.
Oh, I know. I do. I only bully the people I really, really love, and that should worry you too, Laurie. Me saying that. So let's not take that conversation any further for now.
I resign, effective immediately. Kid Tarracona is asked, out of all the British wildlife, which do you think is the most popular with the public and why?
Oh, I have no idea. Laurie, you can answer this one. I'm going to put that across to you.
There was actually a questionnaire done a couple of years ago when Britain's most loved mammal is actually the hedgehog. It's one of the very few uncontroversial species we have here in the UK. Unfortunately, a large number of our mammals, someone will have an issue with somewhere, whether it's foxes or badgers or rabbits or anything like that. There'll be some group that thinks of them as a pest or unnecessary. But hedgehogs and owls are two of our most loved and, to be honest, least controversial species. So I'd say the hedgehog is probably the UK's best loved.
I think you class me as the most controversial species, wouldn't you, Laurie? I know Laurie would, but he probably won't say it to my face. Otherwise, he will be back at 40p a year if he agrees with that one. I missed something there. I'm trying to read back, Laurie, because it's all going up too quickly. But there was paradigm. My favourite word, paradigm shift. What paradigm shift am I looking for? Look it up, guys, because it's basically, I'm going to read it now because I don't want to get it wrong. So I've actually printed it out for myself. The definition of it is an important change that happens when the usual way of thinking about or doing something is replaced by a new, different way. Now think of that, guys, because we need something new and different. I think, the words that spring to mind that mankind is most talked about for is selfishness, greed, short-sightedness, and I could go on forever. It'd be lovely to have a competition. If you all come to me with all the bad words that we want to get rid of, to change them for an equal and opposite. We are selfish, we are short-sighted, we are greedy, we are everything we shouldn't be. We need to put things back, guys. We need to take time out, we need to relax, we need to lose some of the stress that we all have, because we all think we just have no time to relax, and we do. And we need something, giving, courteous, friendly, happy. Let's get some of those words in. So my paradigm shift, and I think the one I hope we're heading towards, is a total change in the way we deal with our own lifestyle, our own lives, and those around us, and particularly the wildlife around us as well. That's as deep as I'm going to get for now, Laurie.
Toronto Mainline Trains is asked, do you have t-shirts or any other merchandise to sell? And that is something we are working on, as I'm sure you'll comment on.
Alice, who will be on the end of this conversation, I'm sure is busily typing as I speak. We do have merchandise. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, all sorts of different shirts and fleeces and whatever. It's all there. It's all on the website. So any purchase made would be brilliant. And obviously any donation made is always brilliant. But yes, it's there, guys. Go onto the website, www.wildlifeaid.org.uk. where you can see our merchandise and many other things, and also how old I am. Do you notice my hair, guys? Have you noticed my hair? It's so long now. I'm thinking of going for the ponytail. Another 2 months of isolation and I should be able to get a tiny ponytail out the back. That will really make Laurie laugh. Laurie actually is going for the front ponytail because he's receding so much now. He's going to brush it all forward and do a little fringe with the back of his hair going forwards. I will laugh, and so will you, because we'll do it for charity.
Thank you.
Absolutely superb.
We are actually going to upload parts of Wildlife SOS Series 1 at some point very soon. So you'll enjoy seeing Simon in his prime as far as hair is concerned. I'll expect some comments after that one, I think.
Absolutely. I've just had why are we getting a message from Maru, who's supposed to be working?
Maru is in the chat, yes.
She's supposed to be working really, really hard saving animals, and she's in the chat. Maru, our vet. There's Lucy, who used to work hard, but now she's old and retired. I mean, I'd like to see her climb a tree, wouldn't you, Laurie?
What, yeah. Maru or Lucy?
No, Lucy. I'd like to see Lucy climb a tree. That'd be interesting. And
I'm sure Lucy has done a tree climb at some point.
I don't think she has. If you've seen Lucy on a rescue, you would question that, and Sean would really burst out laughing big time. And Mara actually, just before we started, said she had some problems with her tits, and I knew I shouldn't have said that today, but she actually said that to me when we were talking. I said, "What have you had in?" She said, "I've got some problems with my tits. We've had lots of tits in." I said, "Okay, I might mention that and I might not," and by mistake I have. So Maru is working hard. She's going to be on till 10 o'clock tonight, so she's working really hard. And we have got, what have we got? We've got 24 admissions today, as I said. We've had corvids in. We've got lots of nests in. As I said earlier on, if you are going to cut down trees or hedges or anything, please, guys, look first. And if you can just wait another 8 weeks, just 8 weeks, that's all, please, before you start doing these things, because these birds get into so much trouble. They lose their habitat. They die, everything's bad, so don't cut trees or hedges at the moment, please, guys. Now look, everybody's talking. I don't know why I'm on this story, because now Angela Warren, who looks after all our baby rabbits, is talking to Maru. Maru's on more releases. Everything's going up. It's all going on round me, Laurie. I'm being ignored.
You see, this is why we never let you look at the chat, because you get very easily distracted.
I do. It's just old age, Laurie. I get easily distracted, but I do forget what distracted me while I'm in the middle of reading it, which is quite interesting.
We've had a couple more donations that we can get into. Laura Kane has donated £3 and has put a little animated My Hero. So there you go.
Is that to you or to me, Laurie? Who's the hero, you or me?
That's definitely got to be to you.
I don't know. I think it's probably you. I just had, look, hi, I'm from New Zealand. You guys do an excellent job. I don't get political on this at all, but please, could we have your Prime Minister? Because I think she's absolutely staggeringly brilliant. So, hi, New Zealand, a country I've never been to, a country I'd love to go to. So,
I want to go to New Zealand.
Welcome. You can't go. I'm going first. You just sit and wait your turn. Wait till I'm dead before you go.
I'm going to book a flight now.
Well, good luck on that one, Laurie.
I'll just find a suitably large eagle.
Okay, off you go. So what else we got going on? Simon, Laurie, how about we all contribute our haircut money? And Laurie, maybe two pigtails down the front. This is getting very, 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 very near the mark, this chat tonight, Laurie, isn't it? That's why they hide this.
Mary's actually said, please ask Simon to mention about the hedgehogs trapped in rat traps with poisoned bait. That is unfortunately something that we've been seeing quite a lot at the moment. If you put down a rat trap with poison bait inside, quite often either you can get a hedgehog eating that, and that is a very, very nasty way to go, or if you do poison the rat, you will then poison the fox that eats the rat, the owl that eats the rat, and then work on up from there. So it's not just killing one animal in quite a horrible way, to be honest. It's killing many, 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 many more. So please, please, please don't use poison bait.
We didn't go out that long ago. We went out to a hedgehog that was actually had sprung the trap. There's a rat trap out, and the hedgehog got stuck in it. It was probably before Laurie's time when he was still in nappies. But we did, and I remember filming it as well. So a hedgehog actually got stuck in the trap and was trying to walk around with this trap stuck onto his bristles. His prickles, his whatever they are. But yeah, so yeah, rat traps, very nasty things. If you're going to set them, but please don't. Set a humane one, guys. Let it go somewhere else. Try not to kill it. It's cruel. Right, Laurie, press on before we go on.
A couple more donations, actually. They're flying in. So
flying in?
100 Canadian dollars, and it's put for the birds. Thank you very much. We have an awful lot of those in the moment. We're getting baby birds nests in all the time. Unfortunately, a lot of garden work is going on at the moment. People aren't checking bushes or trees before they do the work, and they're uncovering nests, they're cutting the nests out. We're getting an awful lot of actual whole nests brought in at the moment, and if not, we're getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 birds. We had 13 ducklings in one go, so that's adding up very quickly.
It's all, yeah, on top of which, I mean, on all these things, I mean, if you've got a problem, ring us. We'll always talk you through a problem, but it's just so sad to see birds come in that don't need to. Often, as I said before, when something's fledging and if it's a corvid, it'll be on the ground for 3 or 4 days. It doesn't need your help, guys. And if you ever get dive bombed by a crow or a magpie or something when you're out in your garden, it's because it's protecting its young, which will be on the ground for 3 or 4 days, and they're just feeding it. So, you know, call us before you bring things in, because you don't often need to, but just have an umbrella up for a couple of days and then you'll be safe.
Yeah, it's one of the things we've had to do recently. A lot of the animals that are brought in can just go straight back out because they are fledglings or young animals doing what's called branching, where they sort of spend, as Simon said, a couple of days to a week or so out just hanging around on the branches. They can't quite fly, but they'll sort of hop and jump between branches. And we've had quite a few of those that can just go straight back. So please, if you do have the case, please ring us first, as Simon said. Some weird
person, Laurie, just said that Maru is brilliant.
Maru is brilliant.
I'm not so sure we should be saying that. It should be Simon who's brilliant, and he's taught Maru all he knows. But there we are. Lucy Kells is in on the chat, as you can all probably see. Says Maru is brilliant. So Maru, take a bow. I can't see her on the camera. I'm just going to flick onto my camera to see where she is. Where's Maru gone? She's not in.
Actually, we had a rescue recently of a goose that had an injured leg that you went out to rescue, and that was actually brought back into the centre, and upon x-ray it did unfortunately have a broken leg, but it also had a pellet in the leg. It had been shot, and that's why it had broken it. And Maru actually, within an orthopaedic operation, pins that entire bone back together, and the goose is now healing very, very well.
Laurie, I can add to that. Laurie, you're behind it. You see, you're not on the ball like you should be, Laurie, are you? As head of media, you should be on the ball. Sadly, that goose is not using its foot, and Maru tomorrow is going to make it a special little shoe that we can put under the foot to try to lift the foot up, because it's not using the foot. The leg works, and it's flexing its leg to a degree, but the foot's not. So she's going to try to make it a little shoe. And you're going to be filming that, because we talked about it earlier on before you were listening, and hopefully that will get it walking again, because it deserves we will go every single mile we can to get any animal back. I don't care what it is, from rare to common. If we can get an animal back to the wild, we will. So we're going to make a little shoe for the goose, which you'll be filming, Laurie, and we just hope, fingers crossed, that it gets it walking again. If anybody says Maru brilliance again, I'm going to. Now somebody says Maru is amazing. That's another one. I think Maru's paid for this. It's our volunteers are saying that Maru is amazing. She's brilliant. She's all sorts of things. I think Maru's paying them. I think they are being paid to say nice things about Maru, Laurie.
Bet she deserves it.
Maru the legend. For heaven's sake, where is this going, Laurie? It's all going so wrong.
Distracted.
I'm very distracted. I'm distracted and discombobulated.
Matt Perslow donated £20, but unfortunately not able to begin to volunteer right now. Keep doing what you're doing, and I hope this helps in my stead. Hopefully be back soon. We hope to see you very soon as well.
Laurie, I'm joking. I've just had a comment from Nigel Grant. Get rid of Simon, put Maru in charge. It'll save me a lot of cash on my donations. That was, Laurie, that's spiteful. Is that not spiteful, Laurie?
5 million years old.
I think we'll have to find a deer that we need to put to sleep tomorrow. And if Nigel Grant is standing a bit close, it could be a sticky wicket for Nigel Grant, I feel.
Right. Jean-Luc Picard.
You're changing the subject, aren't you? You're changing the subject.
£4, so thank you very much. Kid Tarracona has donated thank you very much. Megan has donated 10 Canadian dollars with a little love heart. Thank you very much. Some of these are disappearing off my screen, but I am trying to find them. Scottish Astronomer's donated £20 and she's put, your work is still harder than rocket science. I potentially argue that one, but thank you very, very much.
I'm just reading the chat. Laurie, I'm reading the chat again now. Can we start a Maru Facebook fan page? Simon, and then the next one, Simon is wildlife too, be kind. Simon, is there alcohol in that drink? And somebody else went, ha ha. Laurie, please don't let Simon see the chat again.
It's dangerous. This is why we don't do it usually, but he insisted. I think we'll try and insist the other way. Ron has asked, which rescue have you done that's affected you the most emotionally?
There are many, to be honest. I think one recent, sorry, my brain doesn't go back that far. One was when we had a fawn which was never going to make it. It was riddled in maggots. It had 2 broken legs, and the mother was standing very close to it. And in an instant like that, I just like to take the fawn away and deal with it quietly. But because Mum was there, and I wanted Mum to be able to close the chapter of that book, I actually shot the fawn and then left it there so Mum could come up and see it, and she could sort of do her parting whatever it is. I mean, she needs to see that it's no longer with us, it's gone, and she can go on and live her life. That did wreck me for a long time, and you wonder why I drink Bacardi and Coke. As Laurie will tell you, when I had a really rough day and I've had too much unpleasant things to do, I do hit the Bacardi quite hard. Not too often and not too much, I promise you. But yeah, we're there to save wildlife. We're not there to kill it. But sometimes the kindest thing is to put it to sleep and let everything else around it know that it's gone and won't be back again. But it can get tough, guys. Can get tough, and I won't get emotional, I promise.
Nathaniel has asked, they have a great tit that's laid a clutch of eggs. Sadly, it ate one of them completely, including the shell, and then abandoned the nest. Why is this?
With all these questions, I tend to answer some by myself, but I don't want to take the glory from Laurie. So sometimes I pass him one of those questions to answer on my behalf. Laurie, get out of that one.
So quite often, if a bird will lay a nest that isn't particularly viable, maybe the eggs are not viable, not fertile, they've been cold for too long, and the eggs are dead, then the bird will actually eat the egg to regain some of the calcium that it's put into making the shell and into making the egg. They'll regain those nutrients, and then potentially they move to a different nesting site that isn't quite as dangerous, laying more eggs, and they've got then the nutrients within them to be able to produce that. So that is probably the most likely reason, I think, but there may be other ones with that.
This is why I don't let Laurie take too much of the glory, because he is our resident Encyclopedia Britannica. It really does annoy me, but he's very, very clever. And we've got Jean-Luc Picard. I want to meet Jean-Luc Picard. What a nice guy. I want to go and fly around the universe with him as well. So there we are. See, I shouldn't be reading this. I find it fascinating. My eyes are going from the camera down onto the screen, which is just below the camera. It's not that I'm disengaging from you guys, but I'm reading the screen, which is just below the camera, which is fascinating, and I love it.
Silver Legion has asked, have you ever encountered an eagle?
We have never had. I'm having to think quite carefully. Lucy might want to correct me, but I don't think she can, because I don't think we've ever had an eagle in at the centre. Lucy, I'll leave you to come back very quickly if we have. But I think I'm right. I think I win the bottle of Bacardi for that one.
We have had a lot of calls for eagles, but most of the time we arrive there and they're buzzards or red kites or other birds of prey. We've never actually had an eagle up here.
This is my staff now. Laurie, you rock. Laurie, you rock. Yes, she's going to get sacked next as well. I mean, here am I. I'm taking all the flack here. I think the best call we had for golden eagle was, it was a long time ago. It was before you were in nappies, Laurie, I hasten to add. But we had a call. There was a golden eagle sitting on top of a telegraph pole. It was a baby golden eagle. And we went out because we were really worried about it. And it was actually a little duckling. How he got up there, heaven only knows. It had webbed feet. But of course it was a gold colour, because little ducklings can be gold colour. So that was our golden eagle. Lucy just said she thinks I'm right. Lucy, you know I'm always right. I'm always right. Laurie is always wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. Sarah Mayer is asking, how many cases do we deal with each year, and how many animals do you think you've saved in total?
I hate to think, because it makes me feel even older than I am, we deal with about 20,000 wildlife incidents a year. Now we say that particularly because we get a lot of calls where we don't have to go and rescue it, we don't have to go and save it, we can give the right advice and the animal is safe in the wild. And I think the best thing for us, I love it, because people, we give them the answers, we tell them not to bring it in, we say don't do this, don't do that, and they get really, really shirty, get really stroppy, you don't care, you don't care, you don't care, and then 24 hours later you get a call from the same person said, I did what you said, you were absolutely right and thank you. So, you know, we can help, and we can do a lot of it really by phone, and we have over the 40 years, that's a long time, Laurie. I remember when I had hair and was young and could jump a 6-foot gate. We have over the years.
Just to prove it.
Shut up, Laurie. I'm not. You can't interrupt me now. So over the years, we've developed the most amazing book, which our receptionists have, and I think it's even on the website, isn't it, Laurie? I think. But all the FAQs and answers of things of how to deal with things, and this actually gets possibly up to, I would guess, 30% of the animals which might have come in and did come in the early days now stay out in the wild and do survive because of our advice. So, you know, it's a great thing to be able to produce, but it has taken us a lot of years. I mean, 40 years in, we still are getting new answers to questions. We're still finding out new things. I always say to any volunteer who starts, I say two things to volunteers who start here. The day you don't enjoy it, come in. And the day you, did I say that right, Laurie, or was I Bacardying? The day you don't enjoy it, don't come in. That's what I meant to say if I didn't. And then the day that you think you know it all, don't come in either. Because I'm still learning now. I'm still learning very hard.
Sarah is asking, did you go to college? And if so, how long were you in it for?
I went to college for about 3.5 seconds. Didn't like it. Always wanted to go to vet school. Would have loved it. Would have had a great 5 years. Wouldn't have passed any exams. I would have made a brilliant vet, but they wouldn't listen to me. I've got no memory retention at all. I would have been a nightmare. So no, I didn't. I was going to go to agricultural college because all my family and relations are farmers. So I spent all my summer holidays when I was young farming and obviously doing the harvest, which I love, to be honest. It's out in nature, which is what it's all about. And I learnt from a farmer's perspective, which is quite interesting as well. But yeah, no, I didn't do any of that thing. I'm far too thick, darlings. I'm far too thick to go to college. I just have my animals and my wildlife, and I'm very happy. I was going to get Toby in, wasn't I? My new puppy. Toby's started to speak in a very posh voice now. Toby has started to speak properly. And everybody laughs when I speak to Toby like that, because Toby really thinks he's very posh, because he's a golden retriever and very, very beautiful. So he speaks to all of us like that, and Laurie doesn't understand what he's saying.
Yeah. But the one thing you realise if you ever volunteer or work here, each of Simon's dogs has its own unique dog voice.
Absolutely.
It depends which dog you're talking to.
That's it.
And you have to master this if you want to work here. You have to master the dog voice.
Everybody we've had in the media company, and we had a Japanese guy called Joe Bellamy, who was lovely, and he came in, he's very, very serious. And within 3 months, he was talking to our dogs in dog voice, but Japanese dog voice, and it was so funny. Everybody who comes in ends up speaking to the dogs in dog's voice. Joe Bellamy, if you're still out there, Joe, it'd be lovely to get together sometime. A great editor. But imagine a Japanese version of a dog voice. It was just hilarious. You haven't mastered that, Laurie. You have to master Japanese next, Laurie. That's what you've got to do.
No, I can just about do Bobby and potentially Toby, but I can't do Sky. I'm still working on it.
Oh no, Sky's been quite poorly recently. So we did horribly think we might lose Sky the other day. He was vomiting and had blood in his diarrhea and blood in his vomit, and we thought, oh heavens above. We take him to a very good vet, brilliant vet, used to work with us a lot, called Andy Bragnott, and he took a look at him and had a big examination and decided it was a hemorrhagic gastroenteritis. And what are we now, 5-6 days later, Laurie? Sky's much better. He's lost a bit of weight. He's lost 5 kilos in weight, which is a bit worrying. But he's doing all right, our Sky. I could go and get Toby in probably, but it would take me away from the screen for a few minutes. So perhaps next time we'll get the dogs a bit close so we can just meet them very quickly. So we have 2 flat coat retriever and one. Laurie.
You've forgotten what dogs you have.
How much alcohol was in this drink, Laurie? I can't remember. We have 1 flat coat retriever called Sky, who's beautiful, and we have 2 golden retrievers, one of which is a rescue called Bobby. He's still a bit scared. He's getting better, but he's still a bit nervous. I don't think he's treated very well. He was young.
Media dog.
Matt, he's media dog. They've actually got a sign in their media office saying media dog sleeps here, and that's Bobby. He loves being in with the guys. And we've got Toby, who's a complete lunatic. He came in. He was about 5 kilos when he came to us. About what, in December, end of December, and now he's 23.6 kilos. He's the same size as Bobby, height-wise, not breadth-wise, but he's growing up very quickly. But he's got a lovely baby side coat and legs, and a big adult coat across the back. He looks like a little bit like a what are those haircuts? What are they called, Laurie? The big haircut at the top.
Mohican.
Mohican, that's the word I want. You see, Laurie is my Encyclopedia Britannica. So he looks like he's got a Mohican because he's got adult hair at the top of his back and baby hair down the side. He's very cute. But he does speak like that. And when he wants his dinner, he says, "Could somebody please feed me? I'm terribly hungry." Laurie, take over quick before I go over the top.
Just answering a couple of questions. So, about Open Day, a couple of people asking if it's still on. So, at the moment, it's not officially cancelled, but it's looking like it is going to be that way. We are waiting to hear how everything is. So, we will let you know as soon as we know anything more than that. It will be out on our website and our social media channels. So, if you were planning on doing that, please keep an eye out. And as soon as we know more, we will let you know.
See, and I'd just like to say, if Maru's still listening, Laurie, I'd just like to say that Maru can sit in for you whilst you get Toby. Maru's doesn't particularly like doing YouTube, so we need a big shout out from all of you because she's obviously watching what's going on here. So you've all got to say, "Maru, come on the next live chat," and then I haven't said it, and she won't shout at me and not talk to me for 6 weeks.
You're going to get hit.
No, it's not. I haven't said it. It'll be her adoring public who want her on the next live chat. So I can say no more. Guys, it's up to you to persuade Maru to come back, and we'll see whether she answers this now.
Lysander has asked, what is the most amazing comeback story that you've witnessed on a rescue?
Oh.
It's quite a difficult one, that one.
There are so many, to be honest. I mean, we've had things that I didn't think were going to make it, and I just had a feeling in my gut they would make it, and we took them out, and they did make it. We never take an animal out to be released, to be honest, until we're 99.999% sure that it's going to be all right. And sometimes I'm sure before everybody else. You just get a feel for these things. After 40 years, you just know when an animal will and can go. Some have taken their time and scared even me when I've been trying to get it to go, but there we are. So look, Maru, everybody's begging you to come on now. Everybody wants Maru. They don't want Simon. He's too old.
Simon won't appear on the next one.
No, I won't. I'm gonna. That's it. That's done. Look at them all. Maru was brilliant. Come on, Maru. Oh, heavens above, God help. And Alice. Let's get Alice on the next chat. Now that she will kill me for. Alice on the next chat. She would kill me. But we do love Alice.
Dangerous ground.
That's very dangerous ground. Moving swiftly on.
Original uniqueness is asked, how do you train your volunteers?
They don't let me anywhere near the volunteers because I scare everybody. All the volunteers are scared of me. I have no idea why, because I am just a big pussycat. Now you're just nasty to me now. I had various hand signs from Laurie today. He mended something I couldn't mend, which made me even more cross. Yeah, so Laurie's not scared of me. I am, however, regarded as being very scary. But, you know, look at this angelic face, guys. It's old, it's senile, it's verging on incontinence. Who could possibly think I'm scary? Nobody. Maru is so cute. What about Lou? Look, nobody wants me. Look, I'm not doing the next chat, Laurie. It's all down to you and your team. The young team can do it.
The next one is just going to be Alice and Maru and Lou.
Absolutely. Okay. That suits me, guys. I'll go and have a little drink.
King Kong has asked, are there any turtles native to England?
No. There's the terrapins, and obviously tortoises, which aren't really turtles, but the terrapins. No, there's no native turtles, unless Laurie now corrects me, and it'll really hack me off if he does. Laurie, speak your piece or be quiet.
No, as far as I'm aware, I don't think so.
No, see.
A lot of the terrapins are considered invasive species. So
They are and some of them get very big too. I've been out. You can get some massive terrapins. For God's sake, don't go and pick them up, guys, unless you know what you're doing, because they've got a very, very nasty, aggressive bite. So if you see if you see a terrapin, that's the sort of thing I'd send Laurie out for, because I don't want to get bitten. We once went out to America and we were with I'd never seen one before. We were working with a snapping turtle, and the guys were saying, "Be careful, be careful." And one of our cameramen just wanted to make it change direction a bit on the road, so he picked it up to move it so he could get his camera angle right. And this thing, the length of its neck, it turned its neck right back over its body and missed his finger by about a millionth of an inch. And I've never seen the cameraman so scared. That's Jason, who left us a while ago. Jason Gibberti, great cameraman, great editor, now working on all sorts of other things far more important than Wildlife SOS, sadly, but there we are. But no, so snapping turtles are quite fun, but be careful of any sort of turtle and terrapin, because they can bite. Even a tortoise, if you get bitten by a tortoise, you would certainly know about it. They've got big, massive, grinding jaws, and it would make a real mess of your finger, guys. So be careful. Always respect wildlife. Don't be scared of wildlife. Respect wildlife. That is what I've lived on 40 years of doing this. You learned, if you respect wildlife and you're careful, it will respect you back to a degree, and you'll know how to handle it. Laurie is expendable. Laurie, you're expendable. I like that. I love these people. I'm going to read this live chat more.
Get rid of me for a year now. So.
I always thought he was expandable, actually, rather than expendable, but apparently he's expendable. Oh, that's from your girlfriend, Laurie. That's from your girlfriend saying that. Laurie's expendable. That's quite sad, Laurie, isn't it? Never mind.
I have to work with you.
Laurie's gone quiet now. I love it when Laurie goes quiet. It really makes me laugh, guys.
Has asked, what's the hardest complication that you've had to deal with on a rescue, and what did you do about it?
Oh, I have no idea. I can't even get Laurie to answer that one. I mean, every rescue has its own complications. I mean, I'm sure Laurie can think of a few.
I think that the Egyptian goose that we did at the race course a couple of years ago.
That was easy, Laurie. That was a piece of bananas.
Yeah, but the slight complication was that it flew off.
That's just, it came back. I called it. It came back to Daddy. It came back. No, I mean, I know Laurie liked that rescue because basically, cutting a long story short, because we're now way over time, we went to rescue some baby Egyptian geese with their mother, and suddenly the mother didn't fly off, did she? No, the dad flew off. The dad flew off because both parents were together. Mum stayed with the babies, but Dad flew off. We couldn't get them, so we had the babies in the net at the time, but we couldn't get Mum as well. So we took a very brave decision, a unilaterally brave decision by me, to let the babies out again. Mum then went and no, Mum flew off.
Yeah, but it was only one adult there with the youngsters.
And she flew off.
Unfortunately, the adult flew off. Mum flew off, disappeared entirely. We did catch all of the youngsters at that point. We waited for about 20 minutes. And not only did Mum come back, but she brought Dad, who wasn't even there when we arrived. And we were able to get all of them in the keep net and relocate the entire family. You got quite emotional on that one. I thought it was quite a nice one, that one.
It was a good rescue. It was a really good rescue, and to get everything right, and to take the risk of letting the babies out of the net again, it was always a little bit worrying. So yeah, but it worked well. But yes, I've had more dodgy situations than that, I think.
Looking through some of the questions, Laura's asked, would you ever get chickens?
Chickens, I love fresh eggs. I'm just fed up with eggs from supermarkets. You have an egg from a supermarket, I suppose it tastes like an egg, but you have an egg that was laid that morning by the farm. When I was farming down up in Essex with my cousins, we had eggs for breakfast, and the taste is just so different. I sort of like it, but we have so much wildlife here now and so much to contend with. If we had chickens as well and had to look after those as well, and we had to make sure that they were secure, it's just time, isn't it? It's time and effort, whatever, but I love fresh eggs. If anybody wants to bring me fresh farm eggs, rather than me have to buy them from Tesco's. Because I'll tell you the other thing that loves eggs, and we buy quite a lot from them, are our badgers. Our baby badgers love eggs. So if you ever see an egg in the badger run at night on the cameras, guys, we give them eggs and they absolutely love them. So yeah, eggs is always good, but fresh eggs would be even better. Perhaps I'll get Laurie to be my resident chicken wrangler. Perhaps he can wrangle the chickens and get me eggs every day for breakfast. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Explosive has donated $20 US, so thank you very much. And Lenny or Lean Nelson has donated 200 Danish kroner and has put a little sort of emoji of gold. So thank you very, very much. And a question in the chat from Kieran. Hey Simon, you're awesome. He's 20 years old, from Austria, been watching your YouTube videos for 3 years and has watched just about every video we've ever uploaded, so thank you very much.
You sad person, I can say to that. Very sad to watch me all that time. Simon's weight, we could send that in or raise that amount. How many pounds? I'm 6.5 million pounds heavy, guys. So be very careful. 6.5 million pounds heavy. I don't know how many I am in pounds. I know what I am roughly in kilos. I think I'm
£2 for a kilo, I believe.
I think I'm about 70 kilos from memory. Maybe a touch more, but not much. So I'm not that heavy.
Yeah. Kieran, just to finish off his comment, has asked, what's the furthest we've ever gone for a rescue?
Wales. When we had the, I'm going to get this wrong, and Laura's going to correct me, but when the Sea Empress went down on the coast of Wales, I think it was, there were loads, millions, hundreds of thousands of oil birds, and we went up to help the RSPCA de-oil birds for a day. And obviously when I've done SOS, I've been all over the world rescuing animals, so that's a bit of a cheat really, so it's not. So I think Wales is probably our furthest point. And was it the Sea Empress, Laurie? That rings a bell with me.
What was that, sorry?
The Sea Empress, when it sank somewhere or dropped all its oil off the boat. Laurie's too young to remember the Sea Empress.
I am, but I can Google it. It was February 1996.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, we went up to Wales and helped de-oil the birds for a couple of days.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting one.
So in the UK, that's the first we've gone.
Alex said to mention our webcams. So our webcams are live at the moment. We have one webcam on the oldest group of Badger Cubs. We've actually got another one as well. 2 webcams on 2 of our Fox Cub groups at the moment, and 1 live webcam on our Blue-tip nest. So if you want to watch any of those live at any time, anywhere, please head over to our website. We are going to get those streaming here on YouTube very, very shortly. A couple of you may have actually seen the first test that we did of that went out with the Fox Cubs. So watch this space. We will be trying to get that one done.
Anybody who wants to see, Laurie, quiet for a minute. Laurie, quiet. I think anybody who wants to see Laurie on the webcams should put a big vote up, and I think we should put a webcam on Laurie for a day. That would be very funny, and it would make me laugh. Laurie, get out of that one.
No, there you go. Flutterby0704 has donated £1.99 to us as well, so thank you very, very much. Nathaniel has asked, what work do the volunteers do? Is it pretty much just cleaning and feeding, or do they get a chance to go on the rescues? And does the volunteer stuff include rescue training?
Okay, complicated question, something you need to look on the website for. Volunteers do pretty much everything, and depending upon the time of year, it depends what they do. They get quite big and comprehensive training from us. Rescues, sometimes yes they do. The trouble is with the rescue, it's very hard to teach people rescues if they're not going to be brilliant at it, because you don't get a second chance. If we go on a rescue and we miss something, you would see Simon go up the wall if it goes wrong. So we do have quite a few of our volunteers who do come on rescues with us, but the way to learn how to rescue is, to be honest, I know boring as it is, it's to watch hours and hours of me on rescues with Laurie. I mean, Laurie does more rescues now because he's much fitter and better than I am. He had to carry our little boat yesterday it was, wasn't it, for about half a mile down a very, very, very tight track, and I know for a fact, yeah, with Abby, so Abby was doing it and they wouldn't let me do it, which made me feel even more useless. But when they got back, Laurie was looking decidedly hurt, and he's still probably hurt today, but he never admits it.
I have a rather large bruise on my back.
As long as that's the only place you've got a bruise, Laurie, that's okay with me.
do actually have an awful lot of volunteer rescuers that do a lot of rescues as well. I know people are not going to let me name any names. People like Ron, Mike, Pat, Jurgen, a whole load of the rescuers that do so much for us at the moment. They are running left, right and centre all around the county, picking up foxes, birds, hedgehogs, everything. So a huge thank you to all those guys who, to be honest, don't get the praise they deserve on this channel. So
oh, they do. They get quite a lot of praise. I just worry about Ron, because if the rescue's to the right, Ron goes to the left. If the rescue's straight on, he goes backwards. Now, Ron does an awful lot for me. I can't go on them all, neither can Laurie, but Ron is always there. Very rarely that Ron says he can't. He sometimes says, I've had a glass of red wine, so it would be tricky. So, Ron, thank you, and all the others who help us. You are all stunning, and thank you so much.
And on the rescuer training, we do actually start people on some of the simpler rescues and then slowly work up into some of the more complicated ones. You start on just collections, and then you can work up to eventually some of the more dangerous species, the foxes and things like that. But there's only very few people that are on site that can deal with things like badgers and deer, because they are very, very dangerous if you get it wrong. So that requires a bit of training and skill with that one.
I like Myra Kinghorn's last comment. A webcam on Simon for a day would be fine as long as it didn't have sound.
That is true, but people who could lip read would sue us. So,
I'm very good. I did a live show. I did a live radio show for 2 years a while ago called Eco Hour, and it always amazed me, as everybody else, because I never once swore on live radio. But if I'm not on radio and it's not live, poor Laurie spends 90% of the edit cutting out my swear words, which are very regular and sometimes quite powerful. I do swear like a trooper, but never on live. And I don't think I've sworn on this yet live, have I? I've managed to avoid it so far. So thank for that.
A lot of people are saying in the chat that Lou Kingston, who is one of our volunteers, Ron taught me how to rescue foxes, and Laura Kane, who's also one of our volunteers, has put Ron was the first person to teach me how to feed a pigeon. So a lot of Ron love going on in the chat.
Ron's been here for a million years. He's been here nearly as long as I have. He's been here for over 20 years, I think, Ron, now, hasn't he?
22, I believe.
He's so old. He is so old, like me. That's quite scary.
Linda Fuchs, Fuchs is actually German for fox, considering the fox emoji she's put in, has donated 50 Danish kroner as well. So thank you very much, Linda.
I want to go down. I haven't been to Denmark either, Laurie. We haven't been to any nice places for a long time.
Denmark. I like Finland an awful lot. Finland is a beautiful country. If there's anyone on here from Finland, your country is amazing, and I want to go back.
But we don't let him have holidays, so he's not going back there, and he can't fly anyway because all the airlines are grounded. So, Laurie, you're here forever.
It's actually, in a week's time, I was meant to be going to Scotland for a couple of days.
I know that.
First holiday in quite a while, but unfortunately that's been cancelled now.
Not going to be going there. Laurie, do you realise what the time is, Mr. Brayley?
I do, yes. We're going to have a couple more questions, and then we are going to wrap up. So,
Are you talking to me then in saying that or not?
Pardon?
You telling me to wrap up, Laurie?
Oh, in a couple of minutes I will be, yes.
Ooh.
Michael has asked, how do you deal with the death of an animal?
I believe if you talk, I know I've got quite a few friends who are vets, quite a few friends who are doctors and nurses. You've got to have a really sick sense of humour. It sounds crazy, but you've got to get it out. So you've got to talk about it, sometimes be disgusting about it in a way. You've just got to get it out there. So you've got to deal with it and put it aside, because if you didn't, I mean, like the deer I had to shoot this morning, you've got to shut it down and deal with it quickly, because you can't keep thinking about it, because you could never do it next time as well. So death of an animal is always sad. The only reason we ever put an animal to death is because it will not or would not have made it in the wild, or it was in horrendous pain, or had the most horrific injury. So that sort of is in our brain as well. But yeah, you do it quick, do it hard, and yeah, you get on and do the next one. Otherwise you couldn't do it.
Alice has actually left the chat now. Has put, sorry guys, need to go, animals to feed. So animals still converse even in this. Imogen Gould has just donated £2 and has put, keep up the good work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are going to wrap it up in a few minutes, guys. So if you do have...
Are we going to wrap it up or wrap it up, Laurie?
Wrap it up.
I think he's going to whap it. I thought he was going to be sick. He's going to whap it up. That was quite funny, Laurie, but you don't have to laugh.
You on live video.
You don't have to laugh if you don't want to. That's fine with me. And I want an essay from everybody about paradigm shift for the next webcam in 2 weeks' time. I want some sensible, lovely questions or answers about paradigm shift and what you consider our paradigm shift should be. So there you are. I'm going to wrap it up nearly now from Laurie, but Laurie always likes the worst word. The last word. So Laurie, it's over to you and good night from me.
Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll be back in about 2 weeks, guys. We are running these every 2 weeks during all this, so hopefully we shall see you then. And I shall pass it to Simon because I do know he likes the last word.